Well,
Who else there?
it's me, and then we have Tyler. She's filling in for Chris, running the board, and then we've got Mike, who's doing the technical side for Joe Termulo, who is also on vacation. So yeah, everybody's on leave except for Jason and I. So
Mm-hmm.
so much fun.
Mm-hmm.
I haven't
Waiting for
gone off
next year.
island for 5 months.
You haven't been off island?
No.
Wow. I did go off island, but it was for some family emergencies. So I'm waiting for the day to actually take a vacation to actually, sleep.
Mm-hmm. And then when she
I,
goes on
I,
vacation, she's still going to be in the work chat. So,
It is what it is. And thanks for outing me. Thank you so much. That's my daughter, BJ. Um, we wanted to get you on. Chris, before he left, he was mentioning that, your office, you guys are kind of closing out the year. Is that right? Do you have some final audits that you're working on?
we're working on it, but this week, tomorrow actually, um, we're having our Thanksgiving luncheon. Everybody will be sitting at their separate desk with their lunch, but during the Thanksgiving lunch with the staff is the time that we make a decision on next year's audit plan. And so what we've done is we sent out letters and we put out feelers to everybody that we were going to be sitting down to decide on the audits that we wanted to do, performance audits we wanted to do next year. And we've compiled a list of, I think, about 60 or 70 topics that we're going to try to whittle down to 10 or 15 for next year. And the staff goes through some kind of weighing system where they take into account the amount of money involved in the proposed audit, the importance to the community, the public, how earth-shaking it would be if we would do it. So they give percentages to each one, and then they'll present it tomorrow. A group will present it at lunch tomorrow. Then we'll all consider it, or we'll get the list tonight. And then by the time we meet tomorrow, we'll have some kinds of calculations that we'll have looked at. And then tomorrow we'll discuss it amongst ourselves over lunch.
And that's when.
And hopefully come up with a smaller list and then finalize it. And so that we can publish it before the Christmas holidays or just after.
That sounds like a long lunch.
It'll probably be about an hour and a half, 2 hours.
To
But,
whittle the list from 60 down to 10?
yeah, I mean, we'll be able to go through it and see that a number of them are just really, really low in priority, and just be able to just say that one's out, that one's out, that one's out, and get it down to 30, then get it down to 20, then get it down to 15.
I would think though that there would be some that kind of it's a no-brainer.
Yeah. Well, some of them, yeah, will be, of course, that's going to have to probably be one. This one's going to have to be one, and then just try to have to decide what the rest of them are.
Can you give us
So we'll do that tomorrow. This week, now that the restrictions have relaxed and the number of COVID cases has decreased sufficiently to where I feel it's safe to send my staff out, they've been going out and finally, after almost 2 years, doing in-person walkthroughs through the agencies as they're doing their performance audits over the last several months. actually last year and a half, we've been doing all of the performance audits virtually and by either Zoom and email, constant email exchange of we want these questions answered. They provide some answers. We want further clarification on these questions, and then we get some answers, and then the staff compiles and put it on Excel sheets and start to whittle down the information so that they can get their reports done. But it's really time consuming. And the joke is with this office is that we probably should be a lot closer to revenue and taxation, since so many of our audits involve rev and tax. That my staff is constantly having to go up there or emailing. And fortunately or unfortunately, it's been taking really long because rev and tax has also been the group that's been sending out the RISE and the children tax credits and all those kinds of stuff. So they've been really busy up there. And so trying to fit our questionnaires in has been difficult. So we've had walkthroughs the last 2 weeks up there. So hopefully we'll be able to complete a couple of audits before the end of the year.
Can you tell us what those audits are for? Are they about DRT or the programs that they're administering?
Well, one of the major ones is the one that was requested by the vice speaker on military contracts,
okay,
and whether or not we're getting our 5% from the military contracts. And so the staff has gone in and they've gone to some website, I forget what it is now. UScontracts.com or something. A couple of websites will have all the government contracts that have been let out, and we go through it and kind of check to see who has licenses on Guam, who has contractors' licenses on Guam. So we have emails going to contractors' license board. Does this company have a license with you guys? Doing all that kind of stuff, trying to whittle down the numbers to find out who's been doing business on island and whether or not they've been complying with filing their taxes. So hopefully that'll come out soon.
Okay. I did kind of want to go back to the menu for tomorrow's luncheon, and not talking about the food, but the ones when I was mentioning the no-brainers, like, yeah, definitely that's what we plan on looking into. Do you plan on, maybe you could say, like the ESF, the expenditure of the education stabilization funds, ARP?
That is going, is one of the topics. The issue is how much of that has been spent, and whether or not it's ripe for maybe by late year, like middle of next year, it should be ripe for audit. Yeah, so that'll be something. And of course, because of the millions of dollars that we're going to be given out there, that's probably going to be, as you put it, a no-brainer. That'll be something that I may put my finger on the scale and say that one's going to just have to come in. I try to be as democratic as possible with the staff and allow them to weigh in. And so, but then in the end, I have to make a decision. And so sometimes I will get one or two in that I really want in spite of the formulas that have been formulated and been provided, and it doesn't seem to show the importance that I want it. So I give a few extra points on my own, and hope that the rest of the office agrees with me.
What about PUA? Is that something that you guys would look into?
PUA is unfortunately something that though I would love to try to do that, this office just isn't large enough. And we just don't have the training to be able to do that. That's going to really take a lot of AI auditing. Because it's going to have to go in and just look at millions and millions of things with as many people that applied and cross-referencing and doing all kinds of things. It really is going to be impossible to do that just in person. That's going to have to be a special kind of computer programming computer program that's going to have to be used to be able to do that. And I haven't purchased that, and I don't have anybody that's trained for that yet, though I've been telling the staff I want someone to get the training to learn how to do that. I mean, I've attended a couple of stuff. I know that one of a couple of the law firms, the big accounting firms here have that, where they can input all the stuff, and I can't even describe. Maybe Jason can describe it better for me. There's some little robots. I know when I attended one of the seminars, some little AI robots run around through all the data and fit things out and put things in line. We don't have that yet, so that would be a difficult one to do.
Speaking of software, computers, and all of that technical stuff, have you heard anything with the procurement of that financial management system that the Department of Administration, Mr. Byrne, had been talking about? I think it was through emergency procurement, right? That this was it's going to be almost a year, I believe, that we've been trying to get this thing to replace is it the AS400? Have you heard anything? Because
I haven't. Surprising. I appeared on your show a couple of times and talked about the fact that I would hope that they would use regular procurement rather than emergency, and I've been critical of it. When we did the entrance conference last month, it was my understanding that fortunately or unfortunately, we're still stuck with the AS400 and we don't have a new financial management system. At least that was my understanding. There were problems with it, and I don't know what's happening with the purchase. I really don't. I would have thought that since they announced it I guess we talked about this last November or December, right?
Yeah. Or the executive order. It was in the executive order. Mm-hmm.
And it still hasn't happened. I was hoping it was going to, I was hoping some kind of system was going to be in place so we can get the financial audit out quickly this year. Last year, we didn't release the financial audit until June because of problems with the financial, the FMIS. Mm-hmm. And so I was hoping that we would purchase it over the summer or sometime, and it would be in place.
Right.
But then there's a whole learning curve with that one. We had one other autonomous agency that implemented a new financial management system, and they were still working out the kinks. And so by the end, when we had our entrance conference, they weren't ready because they were still ironing out the kinks of the new system that they have. So my hopes trying to get things out on time are getting a little dashed.
Yeah, it just seems like this is really critical. I mean, obviously, since it was supposed to be through emergency procurement, or it is through emergency procurement for almost a year ago. And with word of the infrastructure law and the millions that are, coming to Guam and the BBB, the ARP, the ESF, that, yeah, you're right. It's kind of surprising that this isn't a done deal yet. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, you would think that with as much money as they're going to need to start processing, that they get that system in. But I'm still waiting. And the last I heard, at least, is that it's not in. The same thing with the new computer system they were supposed to get the use tax. It still hasn't been finalized.
Well, they're busy, okay?
They are. I understand what you're saying. We've got to, and we are turning out. We've turned out audits that suggest things that could make money. We've done the use tax one and made a recommendation of how automation, even bringing it into the 20th century, would help. I mean, I know that scanners were around even in the 20th century, and now they have high-speed scanners, and they don't have it. And I know that at one point, Chris sent me a chart. He had been listening to a hearing at the legislature, which showed the airport quadrupled, it actually went up about 600%, the amount of air cargo coming into Guam. And the use tax hasn't budged. In fact, has actually gone down. So we don't know. I know we've done the audit. We've made the suggestions.
Yeah.
They keep telling me that they're working on it, that they've got all kinds of things in line coming, but it hasn't happened.
Yeah. Well, we had Senator Sabina Perez on, I believe it was on Monday, and yesterday, she did indicate that what she heard, that this FMS, there might be some movement actually this week. So if we hear anything, we'll pass it along. I'm all kind of crossing our fingers on that. I did want to kind of switch gears because I was perusing the OPA website, and I noticed there's actually is it a protest that was filed with the Dededo swimming pool? Do you have any details?
Yeah, it's one of many.
One of many.
I was disappointed to see that, it's not even December yet, and I'm already up to 14. But fortunately, of the 14, six have been dismissed or decided on already. And so really I only have 7 outstanding. No, it's actually 7. 7 dismissed, 7 still to go. 7 to be decided. In fact, at 10 o'clock today, I have a meeting, a Zoom meeting with attorneys to announce the briefing schedule for a case, because it takes some time for a case to actually work through the office. Like we had a protest that was filed in September, but we have to give the agency time to have the procurement record provided and then have them look at it. And then today I will be announcing the motion schedule. And so the motion schedule will start like the 24th of November. I mean, tomorrow will be the day that everybody has to have all the motions filed. Then there'll be opposition on the 3rd. There'll be reply to opposition on the 10th. A motion hearing date will be on the 27th. And on January the 5th, there'll be the deadline for filing of all the briefs for for trial and all the material and the witness list. And then we'll have the hearing on the 13th of January. So it'll take, I mean, almost 6 months there. Well, actually 3 or 4 months to get that out, and then the decision. And that is 010. 014 isn't even ripe for hearing yet. So that hearing won't probably happen until February, March.
This is for the one you're talking about for today. This is the one related to the airport?
Yeah.
Okay. I did want to ask, whatever happened to the golf carts case?
Well, the golf cart case was put on hold because the main witness in the case went on sick leave or some kind of extended leave until probably today. Yeah, I know she was due back before Thanksgiving. But unfortunately, when she returns, her deputy, who is also crucial to the case, is leaving is going on medical or some kind of extended leave until and for a month. So that hearing is not scheduled until January. I mean, not January. Actually, I had that scheduled for almost Christmas Eve, 23rd. I told them, I'm hearing this, guys. Either resolve it or I'm hearing it. And so my Christmas week, I have hearings the 20th and the 23rd, almost all that week.
Well, hopefully, the people you are referring to are okay medically and all that.
So we're really busy. And then next week, we're finally having our peer review. I've been insistent that we get a peer review. Offices, CPA offices, accounting offices, and this office of accountability, using the Yellow Book, is required to have periodic peer reviews. And it's like every 3 years. And ours was supposed to have been done last year, but because of the pandemic, it was supposed to be last May. But because of the pandemic and the inability of people, our reviewers to come in to town, because of quarantining, and they're having to quarantine going home, so it was impossible for them to come here. And the same thing was happening throughout the country. Yeah. The OMB or the GAO granted authority for an extension. They gave 1 6-month extension, then another 6-month extension, and then they gave another 6-month extension. But I feel like I'm walking around with a scarlet A on my forehead, and I'm insistent that we have to get this audit out as soon as possible. This peer review done as soon as possible. So, thankfully, CNMI is able to come down this weekend and next week to do the peer review, and a reviewer will come up from Palau. and they will go through our audits that we did between 17, 18, and 19. And they will go through it and they will look through it to make sure that we comply with the rules of the yellow book, and that we comply, that we had our our CPEs, a whole number of things that they have to go through, that they have to check in order to give us a certificate of good standing. And as soon as this one's done, probably next summer, I'm going to have to do the peer review that was supposed to be done for the next cycle of 19, 20, and 21.
Well, that sounds like a whole lot of work. So we're going to let you get
It
to
does.
it.
And, but it's the way that because we are auditing and we want to assure people that we are being audited.
Right.
The question is, who audits the auditors? And we do have our peer reviews to make sure that we're complying with the rules. And when we hire the external auditors, one of the things that they're required to provide to us annually is their most recent peer review to make sure that their office has remained in good standing, that they've done their annual credits of professional education, credit for professional education. And it's substantial. It's 40 hours a year.
Wow.
80 every 2 years. Compare that to the bar exam, to the local bar. It's 12 credits. So I'm doing lots of classes for both of my offices.
Well, thank you so much, Speaker, Your Honor, Public Auditor, for sharing with us all the work that lies ahead and the work that you're currently doing. And happy Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving to you. And we'll be working through our Thanksgiving meal tomorrow.
We will be too. Our luncheon is also tomorrow. So thank you again.
Thank you.
All right. Stay safe. Oh, that's a lot of work. Wow. Working lunch. We're used to that.
What's lunch?
I know. It's lunch.
That's a 20-minute thing we
That
did.
was a lot of information from the speaker. Oh. I'm not well, I always say speaker, but he has so many titles.